Go ahead.
Case number 19, Fresh Direct. Group members are Alicia Godfrey, Megan Owen, and Nayeli Resendez.
Today's topics. Today we are going to go over the executive summary in a next level navigator style. This includes who Fresh Direct is, where they are going, and how they will get there. Next, we will go into the executive summary case analysis style, where we will discuss what Fresh Direct does, how they developed and grew, and other introductory information about this case. Then we will talk about some of the major problems Fresh Direct faces in this case. We will then do an industry analysis in which we will go over the key characteristics, the competitive nature, the major competitors, and the current strategy of the firm. Next, we will go into the SWOT analysis, in which we will describe the strengths and weaknesses of the firm as well as opportunities and threats facing the firm. After this, we will talk about the general environment analysis, which describes any environmental changes that affect the competitive nature of the industry. We will then be able to propose alternative strategic solutions that we think best fit these challenges that Fresh Direct faces. And lastly, we will recommend which solution should be adopted and how they can implement them.
So for this one, we are going to do who the company is, next level strategies. Their envision statement is that they are on a mission to deliver quality beyond question and convenience that adds something great to your day. Some of their guiding principles include new ways to shop for food, quality control, and cutting out the middleman. Their company promise is higher quality at lower prices, food exactly the way you want it with 100% satisfaction guarantee. Their company culture is convenience at your fingertips.
Next is where the company is going, the next level navigator. Their next level sentence is to source local food, store inventory in its Long Island City, and deliver based on customers' orders. Their next level purpose is to increase customer satisfaction and maintain freshness. Their next level years to achieve, 6 years, it was from 2001 to 2007. And their next level markers are state-of-the-art production center and staffed with expert personnel, cleanliness, health, and safety, a rating system, and their next level characteristics are their rating system efficiency.
For the how the company will get there, we have identified next strategic steps that can be implemented and adapted within the next year in order to get them to their next level. First, they may expand delivery options to widen locations. This step will be the start to keeping them on track to reach their 50-year goal, which may be to take Fresh Direct nationwide. Second, they may offer price changes. Third, they could create and save shopping lists for customers. By offering this option to the customer, they allow them to spend more time on the Fresh Direct website and also gives the customer that much more convenience. And the fourth step we identified was to give them more variety options to customers. For example, different cuts of meat. This way, Fresh Direct can target a bigger customer base and be able to satisfy different wants and needs.
So next, I will be talking about how the company developed and grew. The company started in 2001 with a co-founder by the name of Joseph Farrell, I think is how you pronounce it. He brought a wealth of experience, and Jason Ackerman gained exposure to the grocery industry as an investment banker. These were the first gentlemen that participated in the business. However, the business has had 4 separate CEOs, as well as a bunch of different levels of management. They also expanded their delivery. They expanded from just Manhattan to Connecticut, all throughout the 5 boroughs of New York, as well as DC. And their staff was carefully selected by experts. So each one was an expert in their field, from quality control to the chefs that made the food, as well as the farmer that grew the vegetables.
Next is other introductory info about the case and or firm. So Fresh Direct was founded in 2001 in Manhattan. It is delivering to more than 300 zip codes. Their first facility was 300,000 square feet. The SAP manufacturing software Conveyor belts controlled by Central Command Center. They are on their fifth CEO in 8 years of operation. And in the United States, in 2009, supermarket chains made almost 556 billion in sales. The typical supermarket store carried an average of 48,750 items, averaged just around 46,235 square feet in size, and averaged just over $18 million in sales annually.
Next, we have identified the major problems and issues facing the focal firm. First off, there is no retail location. There is no way for customers to get a feel for or picture where their food is because of this. Although being solely online is their purpose, having no location does offer its downsides. Second, they are only located on the East Coast. They are only targeting that region and are struggling to expand because of it. The third issue is concerning Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. These would also be considered some of their competitors, as they offer fresh food to customers but in a more physical location. The next issue we identified is concerning how Fresh Direct was packaging their organics in plastic. This brought up a huge issue with customers, as they quickly noticed that this type of packaging was not eco-friendly. Along with this, the public became aware of the large amounts of cardboard boxes being used and simply thrown away, with no option of being sent back to Fresh Direct and to be recycled. Lastly, the congestion problems that consumers quickly became concerned about, as Fresh Direct trucks double parked in busy city streets.
Next, we will talk about what the key characteristics of their industry is. Their first one is food. This is what their biggest sale point is. It's kind of what they're known for. They're also online, which gives customers the availability for convenience, which is also the next point. Customers can shop for their food or other Fresh Direct items directly from their smartphone or via a website. Delivery is also a big thing. A customer never has to leave their current location to get their items in their own hands. They use different trucking services as well as different carriers to get food and other items delivered. The other big thing of their characteristics is their level of efficiency. They can have their items delivered to them by the next business day or within 24 hours of their order being placed.
The next one is, what is their competitive nature? What is the competitive nature of the industry? The first one is the share of the market. They actually share the market with several different online grocers, such as Peapod, Your Grocer, and Net Grocer. Their convenience, which is the convenience of online shopping and delivery of next day. Their delivery avenues, and meeting their guidelines. The guidelines are the CDC guidelines for health and sanitation.
Next, we will talk about the major competitors we found in the case. This includes YourGrocer.com, which was their most geographically significant competitor in the online grocery industry, NetGrocer.com, who was the first online grocer to sell non-perishable items nationwide, and Peapod, who began providing customers with home shopping experience in the early 1990s, going so far as to install modems in customer homes to provide an online connection. We also found Trader Joe's and Whole Foods to be competitors, who are grocery stores who offer a physical location.
Next, I will talk to you guys about what the current strategy of the firm is. Fresh Direct operating strategy had employed a make-to-order philosophy, eliminating the middleman in order to create an efficient supply chain. Another one would be partnering with Manhattan restaurants and chefs to make 4-minute meal options. So what Fresh Direct did there is they contracted chefs in their each departments, like in Italian, seafood, Asian, and I think the other one was like a meat specialty. And they partnered with these chefs to create meals that could be delivered to people's homes that could be made ready in less than 4 minutes. 4 minutes or less, I'm sorry. They also did a produce rating system. And this gave customers the availability to go back and rate the produce that they had delivered to them. And in doing so, they saw a 70% increase in sales for things that customers would not had normally bought by giving them this rating system. They also did a website upgrade, which gave customers more features and options whenever selecting their items to be purchased.
The next is there's the part of the SWOT strategy, which is their strengths and weaknesses. Their strengths is their convenience and their freshness, because you order one day and you have it the next day, and their freshness comes from straight from the docks. And their strength is the next day delivery. Weakness, it's only online. They don't have any other outlet to shop, and it's not nationwide. It only services New York, Connecticut, DC, and New Jersey.
Moving forward, some opportunities we have identified consist of growth potential, the use of customer reviews, and coupons. Fresh Direct has much room to grow in the direction that they intend to. This could be by expanding nationwide, deepening or widening product lines, or even simply within their own website. Customer reviews may seem bad, but Fresh Direct could use these reviews to fix what is needed coming from a customer standpoint. The customers are the ones that they are trying to satisfy, so taking the input straight from them provides a huge opportunity. The use of coupons or any customer loyalty program would be a nice incentive to keep customers engaged and consistent with Fresh Direct. A few threats we found is, again, grocers such as Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, as they serve as direct competitors to Fresh Direct. Along with this, we felt the types of online shoppers would be a threat. Fresh Direct is trying to aim towards 100% satisfaction, when in reality, they're going to get a customer who may hate online shopping over physical markets or going to the grocery store themselves.
Next, I'll be talking to you guys about what some of the other environmental challenges that they are facing are. And the biggest one that we were able to find was the congestion order that the governor of Manhattan placed. By doing so and placing this order, it meant that you had to pay more premiums for parking spaces, as well as there was like a fee anytime you had to go into an overly congested area that Fresh Direct had faced. They also did an immigration status at their plant. Whenever this started, they had 900 plant workers, and they were asked to provide legal papers showing that their immigration status was valid inside the United States. As a result of this, some workers left immediately and cut down their employment by a little more than half. After this was done, Fresh Direct only had 450 plant workers or warehouse workers after this was completed, some of which had worked with the company for 5 to 6 years, but due to the immigration order that was being placed, they left immediately. Some of the other things that they faced were the unionizing or lack thereof for their union and plant workers. A lot of the workers did not want to be part of a union, and some of the drivers did. So some of the employees were for the unionizing and some were not. Basic workers inside the warehouse did not fall under the union, but their truck drivers and delivery drivers did end up taking on the union.
So this is what we came up with for the alternative strategic solutions to the problems and issues. For the congestion order, we thought of, instead of using delivery trucks, New York is very successful in using messenger services, like on bikes and mopeds and stuff like that. That would cut out the congestion. They would want to advertise on Groupon, because who doesn't like a discount? I know I do. Another one was that some virtual tours of their warehouse, have a spot on their website for virtual tours to show them how they do things in their warehouse and how things are packaged or not packaged. And another solution that we thought of was to do biographies on the farmers and the fishermen, give the customer a little bit of insight on how the farmers work their farm or their crop, and how the fishermen, what they do on a daily basis, and also a live feed of the docks of where the fishermen come in, to have them see how their product is handled, if it's handled correctly or how it's not handled.
From the strategic solutions that were just proposed, Here are three that we believe should be implemented. Biographies on the farmers and fishermen, as well as their relationships with Fresh Direct, gives the customer a history of the product. This may include information about the organic food, whether or not pesticides are used, etc. This also gives information about who is managing their food. Second is a virtual tour of the warehouse, which could show how the products are housed and what standards they are meeting. They could give more information about their facility and employees here as well. And lastly, we believe a live feed would be useful, as customers would be able to constantly see their food coming in, how it's handled, and ensure that everything is done correctly and up to standards.
So then we did a how the solutions should be implemented. And a lot of it is going to be on their website because they aren't a physical location and they are solely online. So the website could do like a separate section dedicated to the biographies of their outsourced, like their farmers, as well as the fishermen, as my two others have already stated. They could do also like give the farmers an option to like post pictures of where and how their crops are grown, if they do or do not use fertilizers, pesticides, and how they water. Does it come out of a well or is it like land water? How is it that they're growing their crops? They could also use a separate section on the website for that virtual tour. So it would give the customer an option to go onto the website and watch this video of how the whole warehouse is ran and what policies and procedures they have in place to keep their warehouse up to standards via the USDA to make sure that the meat and produce is being housed correctly. They can post cameras on the buildings to keep a live feed of the docks. This will enable the customers to be able to see how food is being brought into the facility as well as how it leaves the facility so that they can ensure that they're getting the best product absolutely possible. And that is all we have for that today. We have also been able to come up with some questions that we would like to ask our audience to be able to see how well they've been paying attention and to kind of give us some feedback on how we did. And we'll take turns displaying those questions for you guys.
So the first question is, when was Fresh Direct founded? Fresh Direct was founded actually in 2001 by Joseph Fideli, and Jason Ackerman.
Our second question was, how many CEOs have they had? Since they opened, and again, this was all conducted since 2011, so where they've gone from 2011 to now in 2022, we haven't gotten all that information. But in the 10 years that we were able to analyze, they had 8 CEOs in 10 years.
The third question are, who are their competitors? Some of their major competitors include yourgrocer.com, netgrocer.com, and Peapod, which are all online, as well as Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, which are physical locations.
The next question is supermarket chains made blank billion in sales in 2019. And in the United States alone in 2009, supermarket chains made almost 556 billion in sales.
And our last question was, where did they originate and where do they now serve? So they originated in Manhattan, and now they serve all 5 boroughs of New York, as well as Connecticut, DC, and there was one other one.
New Jersey.
And New Jersey. And that is our case analysis over Fresh Direct. Again, my name is Megan.
I'm Alicia.
And I'm Nayeli. And this is case number 19.
From Fresh Direct, and we are group number 2. Thank you all for joining us today, and I hope that you all learned something just like we did. Bye.